In the ocean of wisdom that Hazrat Imam Ali peace be upon him left for humanity, every word shines like a guiding star, and among those timeless pearls is his saying that the love of this world is the root of all mistakes. These words are simple, yet they carry the deepest meanings that can transform the lives of those who truly reflect upon them. When we look at life, we see that every mistake, every sin, every downfall of man is linked to the attachment of the heart to this temporary world and its fleeting pleasures. The love of this world blinds the eyes of the soul and chains the heart so that it cannot rise to the heights of truth and purity. Imam Ali peace be upon him is reminding us that the world itself is not evil, but the love for it, the attachment to it, and the obsession with it are what lead human beings into darkness. This world is a place of tests, a place of trials, a field in which we sow seeds for the hereafter. Yet when a person forgets that and begins to love the dunya for its own sake, then mistakes and sins grow from that root, just as a tree grows from its root. When we reflect deeply, we see that every mistake originates from this attachment to worldly desires. For example, pride grows from the love of status, arrogance grows from the love of power, greed grows from the love of wealth, jealousy grows from the love of possessions, anger often arises when worldly desires are blocked, hypocrisy comes when a person loves the approval of people more than the approval of Allah. Every evil character trait is connected to this one root, the love of this dunya. Hazrat Ali peace be upon him was teaching us the key to purifying our hearts and actions. If we cut the root, the tree will wither. If we cut the love of the dunya from our hearts, then arrogance, greed, hypocrisy, jealousy, hatred, and all other mistakes will die away. Think about how human beings fall into sin many times. A person knows the truth, yet he chooses the wrong path. Why? Because his heart is tied to worldly gain or pleasure. He sacrifices eternal paradise for a temporary moment of satisfaction. He sacrifices the pleasure of the Creator for the fleeting smile of creation. This is the danger of the love of this world. It makes a person short-sighted. It makes him exchange gold for dust. It makes him forget that his life is nothing but a passing shadow. Hazrat Ali peace be upon him often reminded us of the reality of life, that death is always near, that every breath we take brings us closer to the grave, and yet man builds his world as if he will live forever. Let us consider an example. If a man cheats in business, why does he do it? He knows it is wrong. He knows Allah is watching. He knows the Prophet peace be upon him forbade it, yet he still cheats. Why? Because the love of money and wealth overpowers his fear of God. If a person lies, why does he do it? To protect his reputation, to gain something worldly, or to escape from a worldly loss. If a person commits oppression, why does he do it? Because of the love of power and position. If a person betrays another, why does he do it? To secure worldly interests. In every case, the mistake traces back to the love of the dunya. Hazrat Ali peace be upon him wanted to awaken our hearts to this reality. He was not telling us to abandon the world completely, because Islam does not teach monasticism. Islam teaches balance. Work in the world, but do not let the world enter your heart. Hold the dunya in your hand, but not in your chest. Earn wealth, but spend it in the path of Allah. Hold positions, but use them for justice and service. Have families, but raise them on truth and values. When the world becomes a means, it is blessed. When the world becomes the goal, it is poison. The problem is not the world itself, the problem is the love of the world. Reflect upon the history of nations. Every time a nation rose to greatness, it was when they put the love of Allah and the hereafter above the love of the dunya, and every time they fell into destruction, it was because they drowned in materialism and forgot their purpose. Look at the companions of the Prophet peace be upon him. They lived simple lives. They ruled vast lands, yet their hearts were not attached to palaces or treasures. Their hearts were attached to Allah. Their love was not for the dunya but for the truth, and that is why they became the leaders of humanity. But look at those who opposed them. Their hearts were consumed by the love of wealth and power, and so they were destroyed in this world and the next. Hazrat Ali peace be upon him himself lived the purest example. Though he was the rightful leader of the Muslims, though he had the right to wealth and power, he lived a life of simplicity. His food was bread and salt, his clothes were patched, his house was humble, yet his heart was filled with light, wisdom, and courage. The dunya did not control him, he controlled it. That is why he could say with truth that the love of this world is the root of all mistakes, because he had cut that root from his own heart. When we analyze our own lives, we see how much of our worries, sadness, and conflicts come from the love of the dunya. We compete with each other, we envy each other, we hurt each other, all for material gains. Yet when we die, nothing will go with us. The houses we build, the cars we drive, the clothes we wear, the positions we hold, all will be left behind. Only our deeds will go with us. Imam Ali peace be upon him once said, people are asleep when they die, they wake up, meaning that most people live their lives blind to the reality, running after shadows until death awakens them. The love of the dunya is like a mirage in the desert. It looks beautiful from a distance, but when you reach it you find nothing and you are left thirsty. The love of Allah is like a spring of water that quenches the thirst of the soul forever. The dunya is like a guest house where you stay for a night. You do not decorate it as if it is your permanent home. The hereafter is your real home, yet most people forget and spend their lives decorating the guest house while neglecting their eternal home. If we truly want to remove mistakes from our lives, we must begin with the heart. We must examine where our attachments lie. If we love wealth too much, we will fall into greed and dishonesty. If we love status too much, we will fall into arrogance and oppression. If we love people's praise too much, we will fall into hypocrisy. The cure is to shift the heart to the love of Allah and the hereafter. That does not mean abandoning life, it means purifying life. It means working, earning, marrying, raising families, serving communities, but keeping the heart free from slavery to the dunya. Hazrat Ali, peace be upon him, gave us the most powerful key with this saying: if the love of this world is the root of all mistakes, then the love of Allah is the root of all virtues. When the heart loves Allah, mistakes wither away and virtues blossom. When the heart is attached to the eternal, then the temporary loses its hold. When the heart is filled with the hereafter, then the dunya becomes a servant and not a master. My brothers and sisters, reflect upon your daily choices. How many are made for the sake of Allah and how many for the sake of the dunya? Think of how much time you spend earning wealth and how much time you spend earning the hereafter. Think of how much you invest in your body and how much in your soul. Think of how much you care about people's opinion and how much about the opinion of Allah. This is the measure by which you can know whether the love of dunya or the love of Allah rules your heart. Life is short, we do not know when. Death will come. Every day is an opportunity to uproot the love of dunya and plant the love of Allah. It begins with small steps: giving charity, praying sincerely, forgiving others, letting go of envy, speaking truth, serving parents, helping the needy. These acts purify the heart and weaken the grip of the dunya. Soon the heart will taste sweetness that no wealth can buy, the sweetness of faith and love of Allah. That sweetness remains even in trials, even in poverty, even in sickness, because it is not tied to the dunya, it is tied to the eternal. Imam Ali, peace be upon him, left us with words that are treasures for eternity. If we live by them, we can save ourselves from countless mistakes. If we ignore them, we will drown in errors. The love of this world is the root of all mistakes, so let us water the root of love for Allah. Let us plant the tree of faith whose fruits are patience, humility, generosity, and truth. And let us remember that the dunya will betray us, but Allah will never betray us. The dunya will leave us, but Allah will never leave us. The dunya will perish, but Allah is everlasting. This is the wisdom of Amir al-Mu'minin, the lion of Allah, the gate of knowledge and the mirror of truth.